Pull back the curtain here. Looks like all systems are go. So, gonna put on the hat and start the show. You did. You should have got one at SOE Live last year. Ah. Oh well. All right. So, all audios going here. I don't know if they heard that last thing that you were saying. Maybe not. But
Oh,
everything.
about how I should have got a Nagy hat at SOE Live,
Yeah.
but I was a loser and did not.
Oh. I
Yeah,
got mine for shouting DCUO in the DCUO panel.
that's all it took.
That's all it
That's
took.
all you did.
That's all I did. That's
Oh,
all I had to do. I was there. I asked a question. Jens Anderson spotted me as the yelling dude, so he said, said he'd give me a Nagy hat if I yelled DCUO. So gave him a
he's one
good
of the
one.
coolest guys ever.
He's awesome. He
Like
really
he's
is.
just a cool guy. You see him walk in the room, you're like, he's cool. I
It's
want to be like him.
it's one of those things where I really hope that either a DCUO continues to do well and gets an overhaul on Forge Light at some point, or b that something better comes along and he gets first dibs on that project because he
Yep.
does a really good job, and I'd really hate to see him go because it seems like they're trying to phase out all of the non-original IPs and all the third-party stuff. So DCUO and even Dragon's Prophet, I don't know how long they're actually going to be supporting that.
We've seen their marketing drop significantly over
Yeah,
the past few months. They were doing those big rock videos and they were really pushing it when it was going to that open launch. But then after that, I think it was a Vanguard moment when they went Vanguard free to play. They thought that a lot of people would kind of join on, and they're probably just not seeing the numbers they want to.
I feel
It
like
all
Uh,
depends on the distribution.
they needed to market it as Dragon Pokemon. If they
They
called it Dragon
for real.
Pokemon, it would have been like absolutely ballistic. But oh well.
And you can do a lot of cool things on it now. Like they even have where you can fight on your dragons.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool game. It just did. It was too theme park. Like it has a lot of features.
Yeah,
I don't know. It felt. I mean, other than the dragon capturing, it felt like it had no soul. We see that a lot with MMOs nowadays, where they have like that none of that soul. Like even ESO is one of those games. Like I beta tested ESO and it had no soul. Like
Out of 5 out of 10
The
on IGN.
the combo combat system was probably the only thing I really liked with Dragon's Prophet. Now,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah, that was
actually
fun.
there was one other thing I liked about it. It was the name confusion that I kept getting between it and a different game's product or a different company's product. So there's Dragon Nest, which is a game about a prophet, and there's Dragon's Prophet, which is a game about nests of dragons. So it's really funny how that
That's
turned
fantastic.
out.
That is funny. You're right. I think the biggest thing for me about Dragon's Prophet was, for one, the combat system. I would love to see a combo system like that in EverQuest Next. I thought it was very intuitive and fun. But the crafting too is very deep.
I didn't
Like
really do any.
you didn't? Oh, it
No.
was completely deep. And the great thing is, you could send your dragons to kind of collect materials for you, so it wasn't that grindy. You could while you were fighting and things like that, you could set a dragon to go do all the hard stuff for you. You can come back and kind of really dive into the imbuing and things like that. A lot of modifications that you could do. So I don't know. And DP
There
is
are-
not a very good short name for
No,
the game,
yes,
as the
yes.
Rockmore pointed out.
I can't argue with that. All right, hey, it's Tanlin. How you doing, Tanlin? Good to see you here. So, all right, I think it's about time to start doing the introduction. So, I am Legendary Neurotoxin. Of course, you folks have seen me here. Now, over to my left here is Chuina, who he's somebody I've known a little while from the PS2 community. Saw him at SOE Live last year, and good times and stuff. Flattus, were you at SOE Live last year too?
I was not, and I was supposed to be going this year. I may still be going. I just currently lost my job, so I may not be there. So priorities. Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah.
Happens.
Vegas is a far away from Florida, and Flattus and I both live in Florida, so it's quite a
Yeah.
trip.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. You guys should carpool or take the
We
same
should.
bus out or whatever.
Somebody said I should hitchhike, and I was like, I mean, it'd be a free ride, but the things I'd have to do to get there.
See, the funny thing
You need to
is,
start doing P90X with me. We'll get it to where we lift up our legs. People will stop. We'll be fine.
yeah.
We're getting SOE live. We better get the most loyal fan for that too.
Being in Los Angeles, I have the luxury. It's either a 4-hour drive if I go when there isn't traffic, a 6 to 8 hour drive if I go when there is traffic, or I can take a 6-hour bus leaving from Los Angeles, and that's like $35 round trip. So
Nice.
that works pretty well.
Wow.
Last year, unfortunately, I was sitting in kind of an uncomfortable position the whole damn time, so my leg was all fucked up the whole time. So, oh well.
It was cheap.
Yeah. So anyway, continuing on with the introductions here, we also have Flattus. Now, Flattus is somebody who you might have, not only seen from these shows and Evercast, which is where both of them are from, but he also streams a lot with Tober and Ernwood, who you might know from Into the Portal.
It's true.
Yeah. You two
My
are,
best friend Tovrin.
yeah, exactly. You two are great buddies. So it's always good to see you guys. I was actually thinking like maybe I can get Tovrin, but I think he's usually busy around this time, unfortunately. So
Yeah, he's got his new schedule now, so I think
Yeah.
it's rather streaming or sleeping at this point. So
yeah, definitely one or the other.
Plus the time difference a little bit too.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's definitely there. But Tobin, man, he's hilarious. Every time I log onto his stream, I find myself laughing. I think it's mostly because his friends are always making fun of him. And I feel bad sometimes because I'm laughing at Tobin, not laughing with him.
it's
but-
so easy though.
He's quite
I try not to make fun of Tovrin. I try to like. I think Tovrin and I kind of just play off each other really well. Where his friends just make fun of him and everybody loves him. I just feel bad for the guy. I love Tovrin though.
Yeah, he's pretty entertaining, and that's a lot of people have the same reaction that they don't expect him to be as tall because his camera and the perspective of it makes him look like he's
small.
he's a little kid or something, which is funny because he totally doesn't look like that in real life. But
Was he taller than you?
yeah, he's a little taller than me. I think he's like 6 even or maybe 6'1"ish. Not with the hair though. I think my hair keeps me above, but whatever.
That's fair game.
Yeah, if we count the hair. So, Into the Portal, not Into the Portal, Evercast show. That's where you guys come from, and that's where I've been seeing a lot of you guys. Now that airs every other Sunday. It aired last Sunday, so it won't be on this coming weekend, but the next weekend after that, it'll be on again. And it's a really good show. Tanlin, who's in the audience here, is one of the other regulars. Calbure's been out for a little while, but unfortunately, I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully he'll be back soon, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He's kind of taking a leave for personal reasons right now, but
Okay.
Yeah.
he's definitely not gone. We'll definitely be seeing more of that crazy little gnome, so don't worry about that.
Gotcha. Very, very cool. Okie dokie. And of course, Kaylest is also, a major part of the show. She's like a lot of times the anchor for the show that helps kind of bring everything back into perspective when you guys start going
Sure.
wild. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all have our little things we like to rant about, and she's the one. Well, don't get me wrong, she can rant just as much as we can. It's just I think most of the topics we cover are not ones she wants to rant about as much. But she's kind of like the stream mother. She does. She brings us by the ear when we need to be brought back in.
I don't know. There was no stopping me in the after show last Sunday.
I tried.
that's true.
Flattus lately's been having a soapbox segment. So it doesn't start off as a soapbox segment.
No, it just
but
started.
It ends as such.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go live every other Sunday. It might change over the summer. We'll see what really happens. But we cover all sorts of things. So it's not really just Landmark related, but it's Landmark and EverQuest Next related. Right now we're kind of covering the facet of SOE games to a point if they relate to those two products. But we're always looking for new topics. We like to pick a theme and stick with that for the episode. So we really focus in on one topic. Like last week was our lore episode.
Yeah.
So we kind of went over the summary of the books, how you could kind of of get in touch with that and kind of answered some questions that we thought were important. And the great thing is, like your show here, we're always looking for people to come on. Hopefully we'll have you on soon, and a lot of other people. We're actually working on a new format right now, which I can't really tell too much about, but
Top secret.
I already said enough. You've already said enough.
Yeah, I already said. But we're definitely glad. I'm definitely glad to be here. Flattus, I don't know about him.
Nice.
Who knows?
So there's one thing actually with the lore that actually two things. One, back and forth with Morgard on Twitter, he was saying that there will be more stories for the different races and factions and stuff, but that'll be coming later because they want to guarantee absolute top-notch quality, so they don't want to rush them and just throw something half-assed or something that throws off the lore somewhere. So that's totally fine. But the other thing,
there is that with the novels too. That they might be a little rushed as it stands right now. I mean, there's only 2 authors writing them.
Yeah, that's true. So in the Ring of Scale, you guys both read that, right?
I have. I don't believe Flattus has, so we can.
I have plenty of time to go and catch up on the books.
Yeah.
So I will be doing that. But I do, like I said, wikis. I got all.
So, given the Cliff's Note, this is a spoiler if anyone hasn't read it, but this is just in the very kind of beginning section of it. Ithiasar wants to be an astronaut. It's very clear, and I think that's playing very much off of Dave Georgeson's love of NASA and space and all that sort of stuff. So.
Has a nice little monologue telling his story as he climbs to the heavens of Sky Shrine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without,
scripted too. Who knew that it was hard for dragons to fly to Sky Shrine? I like that part. Because, Ithiasar so far has been sort of like this unimaginable beast, this mythical creature that was pretty much unstoppable. And this is like the first time where you see inside his head as he climbs and he's choking and he thinks he's about to die as he climbs up. It was very humanizing for the character. I really enjoyed it.
Well, humanizing, then he goes to be like,
humanizing for a dragon that's kind of going to be a Sith Lord. Sort of
basically.
The story is kind of very Sith-like. I mean, think of Ithiasar as Darth Vader, and then think of his kind of mentor, which is shown later as the Sith Lord. And they kind of make the Ring of Scale. But definitely interesting to see. I love the cameos, like Vox being in there, and you got to see Kierfarm and stuff like that. If I'm saying that name wrong, I probably am. But that was fascinating to see. I really enjoyed that. What was your favorite part of the book, Legendary?
Well, like I said, the Ithiasar trying to get into space. The idea that if he had the means, he would just be going and flying out in in the wild of the universe, doing dragon things or whatever. That kind of seems really interesting. Thanks for the follow. As just interesting, because there's what is it, Luclin, the moon,
Luclin, yeah,
and potentially other stuff out there, and the idea that a dragon would be the only thing that through magic means or otherwise would actually be able to fly back and forth between the two. It'd be pretty interesting.
It is interesting. Well, especially because the ogres are supposed to be from a different planet and not from Norath itself, as far as what the book said. Now, that could be a typo, or maybe they meant it in another way, but it definitely seems like they're from an actual different world. So maybe now they're from Luclin, or maybe there's different worlds. And I think that's cool, because EverQuest Next could be a lot bigger than it already is in the beginning. You could kind of find that mythical chamber somewhere down deep in the earth, emergent content, find it and teleport to a new land. All of a sudden you have your friends coming to take that transport to that new moon, and you discover the new land. Like, that's the way to introduce content and a way to introduce like expansions. I would love to see that. Player discovered advances.
Yeah. And I've mentioned that too before on the cast, where I felt that the best way to get into an MMO nowadays is to reinvent, or not reinvent, but kind of bring back that exploration of the world that we were missing. We're so stuck in a rut where it's Quest Hub A takes you to Quest Hub B, takes you to Quest Hub C, and that's how you explore the world.
Yeah.
And I've been, I mean, even I beta a lot of newer games, even WildStar. Even it's much praise as WildStar gets for being something that's fresh in the mechanics of combat. It's still Quest Hub A to Quest Hub B to Quest Hub C, finish the area, go to the next area, Quest Hub A.
There was a game that didn't have as much of that, but at the same time also didn't feel like it had nearly as much direction, and that was Ultima Online. And I would say Ultima Online, it didn't say go here, do this, go here, do this. Here's the hub towns that have the portals near them. These are kind of the safer towns. There's some other towns out there that don't necessarily have guards. They're neutral. You can totally get ganked there. And there's a lot of wilderness out there. Various things could be, attacking you, whatever, in the wild. There's caves you can go in that are potentially going to be more dangerous. If you take to the seas with a boat, it could potentially be even more dangerous because there's all sorts of nasties swimming around out there.
So a real frontier game.
Yeah.
You're afraid when you leave city, and that's something else I'd like it to see in EverQuest Next, whether it's a specialty server or whether it's really built into the game itself. I want to fear when I leave Kinos. If I decide to go on that boat across the sea, I want to see sea monsters. I don't want it to be a guaranteed success. I really fear.
And that's really something that's we're seeing already with Arcage, or Archage. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a sandbox world. It's going to be free to play. You have a farm. You can grow crops. You can do, and it's time based. Takes time to do those things. You can build a boat and travel along the sea on your boat. There's pirate fights you can get into with cannons.
That is fantastic.
There's massive battles. I mean, there's like some downsides to it, but I mean, like there's cool things that they're doing, like if I have a mount and Chewie was like new to the game, and I said, Chewie, you could hop on the back of my mount and we could just take off like you would in the real world.
That's
like,
awesome.
That's awesome things. Like that's really cool. And I'm like, there's like no fly mounts, but there's
tight, Flattus.
You're gonna hold me tight, and we're gonna just ride off into the sunset.
Ride off into the sunset. It's gonna be the most beautiful thing in a video game.
We're gonna go hang off on a cliffside off an ocean and just like feel the breeze in our hair. Then we'll hang glide.
Hang glider out of our inventory and go.
I think that is the coolest thing. That is such a sweet answer to flying mounts is the hang glider, because you can't constantly stay in the air. You can't, like, you get a boost up, but then you eventually glide down. But that's a great way to cover like mass distances. But you can't just instantly pop up. Like you still have that PvP aspect. I think that's such a great answer to flying mounts.
Now Landmark's going to implement them. And we saw the floating boot technology. They were the journeyman boots, basically, is what they were at SOE Live. So they already have that technology where you can kind of jump and hover. But actually, for some reason, I agree with hang gliding. And I don't know if it's because it has that connection with real-world adventure, but I'd rather see hang gliders and use a hang glider than use some special boots that let me float. And I don't know if it's because it's that extra mechanical thing above me, but I don't know. I cannot wait until that's in. That's for sure.
Thanks for the follow.
Thanks for the follow.
Thanks for the follow.
So, Landmark Live was pretty good tonight. We have a huge patch coming tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
There's the biggest patch since the start of open or closed beta. Sorry.
I got so much stuff to talk about too. Okay, first let's talk about the new template interface and the fact that it's somewhat built into the gallery system. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's my biggest critique. I'm sorry, Flattus, you go ahead first.
You want me to go? All right. I think it's nice. I think those are great features, and it's easy to just get in there and be like, all right, I want to check out future, or I want to check out like random words, like see what you can type, like Italy. See if somebody's like, I just decided to build something that's very Italian-esque, and like you never know what's out there.
Oh yeah, my pizza oven.
Yeah, like I like tags. I like when people tag things. So I like when you can just go in and say like, all right, I'm looking for a spaceship, and see if somebody's built a spaceship, or if I built like a giant toilet. If I type toilet and someone built a giant toilet,
people have made many toilets already.
We should see it make a toilet land. Just
Yeah,
like
Toilet Land.
20 sized toilets,
I'm
toilet rides.
I made one in alpha and I made an outhouse in beta, so
I
got
have
two
that
so
now.
far.
So that's men hate toilets. So there you go. Like, and it's cool. Like, I would like to see someone build like I don't know. Now they're just Lumicide. I want to see somebody go and do like the casino level from Sonic. Like, build one of those. Like,
Ooh, yeah.
that'd be kind of cool.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, no, the template in the gallery is fantastic. Being able to actually have a place where all those builds are updated live, where you can search through, is going to be
Real.
fantastic. And it's the start of the infrastructure where you can kind of, wow, I did not see that in chat. That did not knock me off my there. Oh my god. It's going to be nice to be able to actually
boy.
start upvoting and writing reviews, because you saw that kind of white space underneath. We're going to be able to start writing reviews of places, and then people will be able to follow us reviewers. So if you want to be a journalism landmark, go right ahead. It's a new profession. You can actually just review builds. That'll be cool. The biggest thing that I worry about is, yeah, it shows the claim on the map in the gallery interface, but I do not believe from what we've heard that it's going to translate to your map. What I'd like to be able to do is press like waypoint and automatically have it on my map and see the waypoint in the world, kind of like PlanetSide 2 does it. You know, you right click waypoint, easy guide to get there.
I'm
Because
sure
it's
they
still
want
pretty
those
difficult.
features. I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
want to put those features. They just don't have the waypoint system in yet. So
It's possible, but
Now-
you think so, for some reason they could just carry it
Okay.
over to PlanetSide
no.
2. maybe.
Now here's the thing. PlanetSide 2, it's really easy because you have a 2D map that doesn't change at all, and you can
Yeah,
assign the position based on the 2D map. It'll height adjust based on the terrain as it needs to. Landmark's a 3D map, so there's different considerations going into that map system. And right now it's a draw distance issue
But,
because it would have to basically be drawing one object way further than everything else, and it'd be a very special rendering consideration.
I suppose that's true, especially in the game. Now, as far as highlighting on your map, I don't think that would be as much of an issue,
No,
because then
that
it
should
could
be
be an
easier.
XY sort of thing. Yeah, they could make it a 2D dimension where it kind of just highlights it there. There's a way to do it. Even a giant X, I'll be cool with that. Just show me where it is. But
Yeah.
you're right, definitely about the rendering with the waypoint in game. I didn't really think about that so much, but hopefully we see it soon.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it's still my biggest complaint of wanting to go find these awesome builds and not really being able to get there sometimes. But yeah, awesome. And what Wada?
Yep. Oh,
Yep.
you guys
there's
think?
one other thing that I wanted
Yeah.
to say about the new template interface before we move. Well, actually, two things. We've got the screenshot system now, so that's awesome because I was really waiting for that. I kept clicking screenshots like, what's broken? What's wrong here? And the fact that it actually clears the selection UI while you take the screenshot, so you don't have the selection box covering everything, because that'd just be ugly. So that's really good that they've got those features in. But the other thing is the fact that, thanks for the follow, the fact that the gallery is actually built into the marketplace is a really interesting thing, because it makes it that much easier when people actually want to try to sell the templates and such to just, put a price value, and it's built into the interface. Maybe there's one thing you can click for purchasable or non-purchasable, or whatever. I don't know. There might be like royalty-free claims and templates and stuff available as well.
You're right.
Like somebody that's just done a study of cylinders and arches, and it's like, here, everybody, enjoy.
I'm interested to see what kind of abilities they give us when tagging our things for sale. Like right now, from what we heard at SOE Live, and I don't know if we've heard anything more recently, maybe you can update me, is that what you create and put up on the marketplace, if it's bought and used in another creation, you automatically get royalties. But is there going to be a way for you to opt out of that? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how many options we're actually given when selling our items.
Yeah, and that's definitely, it's a tough one, and it's something that's come up before, because if you made like a decal for PlanetSide 2 or something like that, and you want it to be free, SOE's going to be like, well, no, we're not going to go through the time and
Yeah.
effort to have our paid employees go through and make a free item. Then we don't get a piece of it. We don't care
You're
if
right.
you don't get a piece, but we don't get a piece. So I could see that being, one of the main issues. But then again, this is a different situation, because it probably isn't going to have to go through nearly the same validation system. It's
No.
just automated dick check, and then quick visual check, make sure there's no dicks, and then You know,
If there's no dicks, we're good.
no,
Boobs,
yep.
Can we coin the term automated dick check?
ADC? Do the ADC working properly? Are you sure?
The ADC programs are down, guys. It's all hell. It's all dicks.
We're shutting down the servers. Dicks everywhere. Oh my god.
I mean, now I'm just imagining like the dick probability charts and stuff that it gives you. It's like, you know, kind of a heat map of like areas that could or could not be dicks. And all right.
How is it gonna work? A checkbox would be great though. In Second Life, you created an object, you had permission space right there. You can be like, oh, they have the ability to modify who buys it, or if they don't. So you have a checkbox. If they can modify it, then they can use it in builds. Because you have to worry also if you sell your items for in-game money when that's available. Because you don't have to always sell it for cash. You can sell it for in-game currency as well. If you don't have to worry about taxes or anything like that. I think it's very reasonable to offer that. So you also have to worry about what if someone bought it in gold and then decided to sell it for cash. Then am I getting that cash because I'm not opted into the marketplace? There's a lot of problems that they really need to kind of work out.
Yes.
Maybe not allowing it to be sold if you're not opted into the marketplace. Something. But the infrastructure will have to be there. And I'm sure it's something they are fervently scratching their heads about. One of the many things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have plans and ideas, and there might be like plans with contingencies and stuff. So there's like, we can do this, this, or this, and then if we do this, we can do this, this, or this, or this, or this. Yeah, I'm sure they've got all that sort of stuff. The people that are in charge of the marketplace stuff, they're actually some pretty smart folks. So
Definitely. Oh, they
it's
definitely.
I've seen companies where that isn't necessarily the case. That is the case at SOE. They're probably only limited by, you know, resources and number of people. So I don't know. Maybe they'll have more marketing opportunities opening up at some point. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see.
We'll see.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would. It would be so nice.
Yeah.
Dropping bombs and hints everywhere.
I mean, the marketing people are really cool too. Like, I've gotten to meet a bunch of them at the Year of EverQuest event and SOE Live and other stuff, and they're really a bunch of good folks. So
They're super friendly.
Yeah.
People like Taina. I can never say her name properly. She's just like the good old party girl. And a lot of people on their team just seem like a lot of fun people. Definitely. But that's not what we were talking about, was
Nope.
it? We were talking about the patch coming tomorrow. So,
all right. Let me just mark off a few things here. And we talked about that. Was mail coming in tomorrow too? The new mail
the new
interface.
mail client-
Yeah,
So
Yep.
there you can mail something, but you can also assign to send it COD. But there's
Yeah.
no
but
currency.
you can't assign
So
it to me yet. It's just like-
you know,
That's-
there's starting to be.
They just gave us the best way to troll everybody. It's like, oh, they're like, yeah, dude, I'll send you all that stuff you need, and then send it COD. And they're just like, wait a minute, what?
Wait, how do I do this? Oh man,
Yeah.
you think they'd have merchants in yet, but maybe it's a little more complicated than we think. Who knows?
At least
Just
have the
depends on-
currency, and you don't
Right.
even need to have merchants.
Yeah, the current. Well,
Well,
you need the
from what-
merchants to get the currency.
What they've said is that you're going to get currency from selling items to merchants.
Yeah.
So I guess they're just going to be, I guess, cash vendors and item eating machines.
Mhm.
So
That's what it's like.
I would
Yeah.
love to see like the Borderlands 2 vending machines. That's all they are. There's not even a vendor.
I mean, I'd love to see something that's just like, it looks like a trash can with a grinder on top and like a little like quarters or tokens kind of
Slot.
coin catcher at the bottom. Thanks
Why
for the
not?
follow.
Machine, you throw the medals. in the
Yeah, you
gear
just
and-
throw the stuff in.
Why not? We have the Mr. Fusion engine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's true. All right, so let's one last thing I'm going to say before we go on. It's really interesting to note that there's about 50 to 70,000 props per island. That's a hell of a lot when you think about your trees, your rocks, your little cotton and other plants like that.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. And I believe over the course of the game they'll probably make more of that stuff interactable. those euphorbs that are all around in the desert and stuff. I'm sure we'll eventually be able to cut them down or do something with them.
Mhm.
Um, so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that sort of stuff once they get all of the features in. But for right, and also rocks and such, I'd love to be able to have a feature to just split rocks in the world, and there's like a random chance that there's a chunk of something inside,
Or a gem. A
or
gem would be great.
like a
You have
gem,
those
or
materials like tourmaline and things like that that typically can only be found on nodes. But let me go crack open some rocks with my pickaxe, and
exactly.
it's a nice geode inside or something. Yeah,
Or you release the ancient soul of some demon, and then
and it
it's
eats your face
it's
off.
it's
Or,
battle time for you
the
and like
Mario, the
everyone.
chomper comes out of it, and then womp womp womp.
That'd be great. I'd love to
That would
see
be
some
great.
sort of traps like that. I mean, I think of like playing Spelunky. Every time I go to whip open one of the vases, and there's a snake inside. That it's like, I should have known that was coming. just got to throw those vases.
No,
Yeah,
EverQuest 2.
Yeah. We all know the natural habitat for all snakes are vases.
Yes.
That's true. That is so true. EverQuest 2, I died. I'd probably say 5 to 10 times based on the traps that were on chests. They always weren't that big of a drop, but every now and then you'd be in a raid encounter or something like that, and the scout would not open the chest or would not disarm the chest, and you'd open it up, and like half your raid force would wipe because you're all at a little health at a time anyway. Oh, so frustrating.
We're rolling through EQ2 right now, and then we're going
Alright.
through all the dungeons. So, and then Crayola Kitty, who's in chat, opens the chests, and we don't know. It's like also boom, like also my guardian grabs this guy. He's like, oh, I was like, I'm poisoned. And I'm
Yeah,
over the top when I like go into dungeons and stuff. So I'm just like, I'm like gut kick. I'm like yelling at my screams at like monsters. I'm like gut kick. I'm like kicking out goons and stuff. So she's like, I'm poisoned. I'm poisoned. I'm like, yeah, that happens. I'm just yelling at the stuff. I was like, this is great. By the way, all the people in chat, if you want to come join the Helsing Army Guild, that's going to be starting hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow if we get enough people on. Because I figured
I'll be
it's not. It's
in 2 weeks.
cool. Yeah. It's fun stuff. We have people that are coming back that are reinstalling the game to come join.
Nice. There
Cool.
you go.
It's a fantastic. If you haven't tried
So-
it, I suggest checking it out.
So
Sure.
All right. So we've got a lot of awesome stuff coming. We've got the Tech Forge. It's going to be used for upgrading, and in the future, imbuing, salvaging, and reinforcing will also be added. The new Crafting 2.0 system is coming in. This is a big deal. Now, with it, there's a couple of considerations. First, all items that currently exist in the game will be in a legacy state. That is, you can't upgrade them, you can't do anything except salvage them when salvage comes in, or just chuck them right now. So they're going to retain all of their stats and all of their properties, and if you really don't like this new upgrade system, you've got basically until the patch goes in to craft all the awesome stuff you want to have, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to have to go through the new resource intensive system that they've designed, which I'm totally cool with because it allows for customization. Now, that's the thing about the new system. You start with a green item. Now, there's a range for the green item. The not only the attributes, but also of course the enchant on it, like swift or destructive, or crushing, I think it was. But
Yeah.
then there is also the number of
Upgrade
upgrades.
slots?
Yes, the upgrade slots, and that's 2
And
to
those vary.
5.
Yeah.
So they may increase the amount that you can add to an item later in the future, but for right now they're looking at 2 to 5 upgrades, and these are upgrades to increase any of the primary stats on the item. You're not going to have
Yeah.
something where you're going to be able to add straight discovery to it. If you have an item with 5 upgrade slots and you want to get discovery on it, chances are that'll be something you'll be using the imbuing system for later to change what kind of enchant is actually on it. So,
I really liked that so there's 2 kind of ways to kind of upgrade it right now. You can upgrade the stats, like the specific size or damage or speed, but then you can also upgrade the quality, and the quality upgrades do not count against your little upgrade slots, which
Right.
is really nice. So you can have those 5 upgrade slots, take your green all the way to a legendary, and then still make it completely OP. And the great thing is you can go back and upgrade it again. So it's not like
Yeah.
you have to craft a new item and then try and re-upgrade it. It can live and grow with you, which is fantastic. I really like that.
And they've said you can actually potentially take things off if you need to later on.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
you
kind of.
if you decided you went like three in one thing, one in one of the other things, and you decide no, that's kind of stupid. I'm just gonna take those two off and just go five in that one category and max it out. You can easily do that with just needing the resources. Hey Poro, yeah, Poro Sorceress just got her code and it sounds disgusting.
Code
It's
for
the Insiders program for Landmark. It's poor sore something.
oh,
Does not sound very
poor sore.
yeah.
Or sore.
That's what I am.
Poor
That's
sore.
what I am. Poor and sore.
Yeah.
Well,
That's because you're a college student and you've been working out all week.
and I've been working out. I'm poor and I'm sore. Yeah. Today's
So
my day of rest, thank God.
I suppose the only major thing to try to shoot for right now is crafting your items with 5 upgrade slots. You're not going to be crafting a blue item or legendary item anymore because that just doesn't happen. You can find them out in the world, and that can save you some of the time to upgrade. But it's you're going to be able to not only affect the stats but affect the quality, which also increases the stats. But you're not going to be able to increase the upgrade slots. So you've got to go for 5. You got to go for 5 if you're gonna max out an item. Don't waste it on a 4 or a 3 or a 2. It's it's one of those things where on one hand it's cool that they've got that variation. On the other hand, I don't really, it's just because there's no salvaging system, people are just going to be wasting materials until they get their 5 upgrade slot item and potentially be
no,
trying to get
it's
that
totally
with a
stupid.
certain enchantment like the crushing, for example.
Thing
Yeah.
is, I'm still not seeing any horizontal progression in this game, and I'm not seeing it where you're supposed to be able to get all the tools you need really quickly. That's one thing that they've been talking about over and over and over again is, horizontal progression, we don't want it to be a grind. And now all of a sudden they're stuck in this vertical progression route where I just don't think they know where to take it. They want people to dedicate enough time into upgrading their things, but at the same time they want it to where the person who doesn't have all that time to grind away can still have fun. And the
Well-
problem is the tools are a huge upgrade. Like, you're sitting there with a crappy tool, you're not only are you not harvesting the other tiers, but you're sitting there forever with your
Yeah,
little slow pickaxe.
Yeah, you're not your dad. This is not Daddy's Minecraft where you just like roll out and you're like, well, let me go to this level where I'm guaranteed a diamond,
Yeah.
go get my diamond pick, and I'm done.
It's
And then
not
and then go like level up and then go build the little enchanting table, throw it on there, and be like, all right, well now I got finesse, and then I can stack. You can stack
Yeah.
so many things on it, and then
I'm going to use the black belt analogy here. Getting to black belt in a martial art doesn't mean that you're a total badass. It means you're finally ready to actually learn. You're physically and mentally sound enough and coordinated enough to actually learn the real shit. So likewise, all of the picks, all of the copper through everything up until the top tier, that's basically going from white belt all the way up to black belt. And then once you're finally...
Sure, but I still think the grind is too much in between. I loved Minecraft.
I don't think
because
the grind's
Minecraft
that bad.
Was still kind of hard to upgrade, but at the same time, you weren't having to grind for like an hour or 2 hours for one item. It was, you were afraid of creepers or you were afraid of monsters, and that was where your challenge is. And I know that's not in right now in Landmark, but I hope once it comes in Landmark,
They balance
that's
it
what
out.
makes the grind harder. I don't want the grind to be, I have to sit here for 2 hours chopping down trees. I want it to be, I have to get to that faraway land, and it's going to be challenging to get there. And I'm hoping they do balance that out, what you were saying, Flattus, because it's still one of my biggest gripes about the game. Dave Vince is saying the grind's not too bad, just like you are, Reese, but I don't know, maybe I'm not as hardcore of a gamer as you guys.
Well, here's the thing. For one, right now in the current state of the game, you can go to just about any of the major islands with the big communities, and there's half a dozen chests full of all the top tier crafting tools.
Yes,
So if you
which
don't want to grind, you could just go and get them, or ask your buddy who's been playing the game for a while, hey, you've got a bunch of awesome stuff. Just hook me up and I'll get you back the materials because I can totally get them after you give me those tools. So that sort of stuff is, that's the one factor to it. The other factor is they do intend for it to be not just this, run around fancy La La Land sandbox. They want
yeah,
it to actually have some amount of danger, take some amount of time. Now, I can be playing Terraria and get through in like probably 10 hours, get all the way to the top tier material if I'm doing a really focused run. But that's probably, that's going to be with a few people helping me and everybody working together just to get one set of the highest level of tools, and then make all of the combat spaces we need to take on all of the bosses, because that's the
yeah.
iteration.
Oh God, I cannot wait for NPCs. I'm just waiting to dive down to that cave and have that worm mob tunnel through us and just eat us in one bite. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I gotta have nightmares now from like Terraria with the summoning the world eater.
Oh wow, right? Just imagine when that's in 3D.
Yeah.
When that's in 3D and you have like physics particles going everywhere and the beauty of
No,
it.
because now I'm thinking like the lava area now with the wall of flesh.
Oh,
That's
now
gonna be
now I'm
horrible.
just thinking about NPCs as a way to start encounters. Some NPC hires you to help them go out and harvest materials, and you start getting your about 20 meters down, and then you hear this rumbling, and Larry says, "Wait a minute, that doesn't sound good." And then this giant worm comes through the ground and eats Larry. And you look over, like, Larry, what happened? Oh,
Yeah.
damn!
Oh,
So you
man.
scramble
And then
back up to the surface real quick, and there's this giant worm waiting for you, and like everyone in a however big a radius, it's about to get their asses eaten by a giant ass pissed off worm that was just summoned by this NPC event that you totally didn't know that was going to happen.
yeah, that void Goliath we saw way back. I don't know if it was the Goliath because that might have been the huge guy, but the void monster, whoever the hell he was, when they dropped down into the little lava area, I thought that was frightening, and that was something at a tech demo so long ago. So
It
once
was
they're gonna get
terrifying.
that kind of NPCs into Landmark, we're gonna have some awesome fighting, and it's gonna be very action packed with lots of effects. So I'm excited. That's the most I'm excited for this game.
Yeah.
It's to be able to start saying
Well,
that.
the question is, what are the mobs though? Like, you don't want to like put
Yeah.
something like a void Goliath where you're
Well,
just
way
like,
down when you're diving for that diamond or something, or a mithril maybe. Most everything that's been patched in, from what we can tell, is stationary mobs. So traps, like a Venus flytrap that kind of shoots like poison darts. You have the chomper. I think that's all we've really seen, other than an allusion to, I forget what it's called, but Shackle has uncovered it in the files, along with some other things, like how they're doing water. It's called like a Tessendorf formula. That's a way to simulate water that a lot of CGI uses. It basically calculates like the depth of the water, and then using the varying depths, it creates the waves on top. I'm not going any deeper than that because I am not a mathematician. But yeah, we get to see some cool things that they're working on.
do you think we'll be able to die in the water right away? Do you think they'll be like, since we can't die from falling, do you think that they'll implement health and stuff?
No,
Okay.
Because I will walk right down into that water.
So here's what
When
I'm thinking on this subject, is that caves and combat and water will all come at the same time, because it's been so, they anticipated combat being ready after water, but they anticipated water being, a month ago. So the fact that water has taken so long, they probably still plan for caves to come out, or combat to come out, right after water, if not at the same time. But I think, maybe they'll give us a 1 week grace period. It's like, here's water and caves and falling damage in the damage system, and next
Yeah.
week real combat comes in. Oh, and we've allowed you to craft some of your weapons, so do it now.
I think water can come first, and I could be happy if it comes first, because then you allow people to kind of play around with the water and bug tested a little. But I think that caves and combat needs to come in at the same time for sure. There has to be something to go down in those caves other than just minerals, because what the hell is the point? At least falling damage. At least give me a health bar to where if I fall down that chasm, instead of grappling hook down or laying a rope down or something like that, that I have to fear for something. But you're right. I see caves and combat together. I just see the water coming earlier because it's not voxel water yet. It doesn't really move much other than kind of a bowl shape.
It's more of beauty water. It's just there
Beauty
to
water.
It's there.
It's beautiful.
It's a volume. It's a non-voxel, non-prop. It's just a volume with basically a pattern on top.
It's a draw. Honestly, I think it's one of their solutions to draw people away from trying to build mainly around spires. Say like, oh, go out to the side. That's the only way you'll see waters out on the coast.
Yeah.
And the ley line system's going to change that a lot.
It's
too,
really
all these hubs spread out into multiple hubs.
It's interesting that they've said it's a bowl shape. I'm imagining like a really wide parabola, basically.
Upside down bowl. Yeah.
That's going to be really interesting to see, because like they said, you dig in the right area and you'll have this wall of water.
Yeah.
Well, is that going to be at a place where somebody could potentially get their claim far enough that they've got this like wall of water cave going on? That's totally awesome.
Interesting. I that's possible. I mean, another way if they just didn't want it to look bad is just to make that material near the water not totally diggable.
Yeah.
So, you can't actually get to that point. And I'm sure that's something they've considered too. But the cave water would be really cool because I saw that Sog was working with Poro.
Yes.
I think it's Poro, on the aquarium. So they could basically put that aquarium underwater and have like an underwater sea lab with that actual water flowing there. That would be really cool.
Well, that would be really cool. And I guess depending on how close to the water we'll actually be able to build, that would totally be a thing. But unfortunately, it's meant to be an aquarium, not an underwater enclosure space. Like it isn't a fish prison. So, I mean, it is and it isn't. Aquariums are, but in this sense, it's just more like think of it more as like a living museum and less of a a fish prison. I'm sorry.
Technically, my lake is a fish prison then, but
no, because that's their habitat.
But also in an aquarium, they're not purposely fishing for them, I suppose.
Yeah.
I am purposely trying to kill those and eat them, but it's all perspective. It is all perspective. I like that though. Fish prison.
You don't fish with dynamite, do you?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's a Florida thing. Redneck style. Just pick up the dynamite, throw it in there. I used to use firecrackers when I was a little tot, but now they've been upgraded to a big boy. I could kind of throw that dynamite on in there. Yeah. No, of course not.
Upgrade to C4.
You'd waste all the fish meat. I mean, come on.
Waste all the fish meat.
I used my pool net in the lake after that to get the fish meat.
No, I think the way the dynamite fishing works is that the percussion kills them and they just all float up. They don't.
Like there's just like bones of fish popping up.
I
It's like
there's
where's
fish around that are blown the hell up too.
there's no more fish meat. We're all out of fish meat.
It's not like you're hunting like a snake with a shotgun or something, Oh damn! I only got the rattle left.
We start talking about combat and violence occurs.
You know it. Okay, so Sango mentioned something. They didn't really talk about the Tech Forge, but they did use it. That's where the upgrading happened. So that's what I'm thinking is going to be the difference, is that you've got the standard type forge for just crafting, but you actually have to have the Tech Forge in all of its glowy awesomeness to actually upgrade.
Basically. Another thing two things to grind for, because with the upgrades you have the new sifter.
The new sifter that you need. Yeah.
So that's two more things.
No, that sifter's been around. I've got that sifter.
Has it?
Yeah.
The works
additional sifter? The works.
Yeah, the tier 2 sifter has been the tradesman sifter has been around. There's the rough sifter, the tradesman sifter, and then I think the legendary one.
They made the mention that you would need it now, like that, like it's like cause some people were getting away with not needing it, so now it's saying, well, now to do the upgrades, you're going to now need this.
I
So
will say I'm very excited for Crafting 2.0 because you have the upgrade system, you'll have the imbue system, and the reinforcement system, and that is a lot of ways to modify an item. The only thing I'm waiting for is the coloring system, because with T-shirts, you can make different colors. I'd like to do that with weapons too, so I can
Yeah.
change the color of the grip, things like that. If they already have the technology, they could easily implement it, I think. But who knows what's on the other side of that? But I would really like to add that too, and then that's a fantastic crafting system. Just a lot of grinding and a lot of crafting. Um,
Didn't see the new animation serial. I mean, other than the Tech Forge having that like fusion core in the middle or whatever that
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
look
and the
too safe
crafting
to be
animation,
working with without
the
gloves or something.
characterizations.
I'm gonna strap. I'm gonna shrink down the fusion core and build a DeLorean, and then pretend.
There you
Not a bad
go.
idea. Not
And
a
then
bad idea.
strap it on the back, and that's my Mr. Fusion for my DeLorean.
I'm one thing about crafting is I really want to see that the window get smaller because it's just not very enjoyable to look at and it takes up a lot of space. I think it could be a lot more intuitive of how it's designed, and I'm hoping they'll actually bust that out before kind of open beta launch because it takes up a majority of your screen right now. You're just staring at that little window. At least it doesn't take a long time to craft items.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that, but I would like to see it a little more intuitive. But man, Crafting 2.0, I am ready.
Yeah, I'm really excited. That's why I got 100,000 mithril. Now that I've used so much of my pyramids, I need to go and get another 100,000 mithril.
So what you're saying is like you helped me with the stone that one time. You're gonna throw some mithril my way.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make my mithril castle now.
mithril castle.
That
100,000
building-
100,000 is not going to be enough. Let me tell you. It goes quick.
It does.
Does your mithril glow every time an orc comes by? Your whole castle.
Actually, well, that's the cool thing because mithril has luminance to it. It has those veins that kind of glow at night, so it's a really cool building material, even in its raw state.
Interesting. Yeah, I have not gotten I have a mithril pick, but I didn't make it, so I've never actually harvested mithril.
Wow.
Me too. I've
Slacker.
I've been slacking big time when it comes to the game. But summer is almost here, so my time to play shall return, and I'm very excited for it.
Hey, Chewy, real quick. Analyst says Kyless agrees with you about the windows that they need.
She we have this feud on our show where Ellis and I tend to disagree and we voice our opinions about such. But lately, we seem to be agreeing a lot. So I don't know if that's a valuable thing to say anymore. We might have to just become friends. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we can get some topics to argue about, but I don't know. Me and Kylest think alike. Great minds think alike is what they say. Not that Flattus and Tamlin aren't great minds.
I was about to say Tamlin and I just chop liver. Don't even matter. Have you seen? Don't forget, Talon's got the cockpit over there. He runs the whole show.
You're absolutely right. He's gonna make us look like mustaches on us, all kinds of things, just cutting off our camera. Just you're out.
He'll start forcibly pulling Talons on all people. Just.
Oh my gosh. Well,
That would be pretty funny. Okay, so the blueprint update. So I kept asking about it, and every time I ask, it gets pushed back further. So now it's scheduled for this week, 11:59 Pacific time on Saturday, because Dave doesn't want to make any guarantees of getting it in sooner. So that's going to be nice because it's going to give us a really better projection of when all the different features are going to be coming and where everything's at, which it'll be really, really nice for people who are excited for the game and are thinking about getting in, but don't want to just come in and harvest and build, or people who've been playing for a while like us that were really excited for these features, and like everyone else, we're sitting there like, when's it coming in? When's it coming in? When are we getting the feature? When's it? And so now we'll have an up-to-date list, because the last couple of lists have kind of been like somewhere between vague in general and like estimates.
I think they're more frustrating than anything. For a while, they kind of went into their silent phase for a couple weeks, and I know they were busy, but at the same time, I thought that they thought what they had was enough. They said, "Oh, we have this roadmap here and we have this," but then they realized that if us fans are going to be told that we're part of the development and constantly teased about things, that we need more information to be happy, because it's more frustrating to know something's on the horizon but not hear about it. And we've seen that in the two last Landmark Lives. I'll tell you, I am absolutely thrilled with the development team right now and their marketing, because they've really kind of answered that call. They're showing us water, they're showing us caves, they're showing us a lot of little preview videos, which we've kind of been wanting for a while. At least I have, and I'm sure a lot of the community has too, from what I read on the forums. So it's really nice to see those updates, because it kind of keeps us happy. We're investors in this game, kind of, and we need to be kept happy.
I read chat wrong, and Throckmorton was like, "Yeah, dating things has its problems," but I read it as dating has its problems. And I was like, "What's going on in chat?" We're like getting personal and stuff. I was about to say it's okay, buddy. We've all been there.
You want to get on your soapbox, Flattus?
No, let's not derail the whole show with 45 minutes of me just yelling.
Never welcome Evercast onto your show as legendary quickly learning.
No, I just need to have KLS on the show here too to wrangle you guys.
You've lost all the control at this point.
All right, so right now it's going to be funny that we're going to have water at some point, not this week, but that it's just not going to have any interaction initially, and that it'll be a little bit longer before the voxelized form of water will actually come through. That's just really funny to me. So one other thing that was kind of talked about was the material specific painting. That's a cool thing. Being able to say, paint this material, not this material, and maybe even being able to toggle a group of which materials it can and cannot paint. So that way, if I have, a one thick wall that I can, do all my painting on, and then behind that it's all plaster, I'm not painting on the plaster, I'm just painting on the defined material surface. And then on top of that, I'm not painting over the other materials that I'm depositing, so I can just do brush stroke after brush stroke and, really Jackson Pollock it up and, go freaking buck wild with it and make some abstract art.
Easily change out designs. People are doing inlays left and right.
Yeah.
Well, now that inlay, you don't have to worry about screwing up the design, because the only way to paint that inlay right now is to either paint the whole material with the selection tool or to use your volume-based tool and basically screw it up anyways. Mm-hmm. So that would be like, oh, well, I use stone in this inlay and I want to switch out the stone pattern that inlays it to maybe like a rubicite to change it to red. Bam, done. I think that's an amazing tool.
Yeah. It'll be really nice. Flattus.
Yeah. And it's interesting that they had that in an earlier build, but didn't give it to us. Like, if they already had it done, why did it go away? What were they thinking? Who knows?
It happens.
It happens, I suppose.
Could have been buggy.
Yeah.
True, it could have been buggy. Maybe it was a tool they felt that was like, who would use? Like, it was one of, maybe it was like, who would use this? And then they're like, oh, maybe we would use this. We would just put it back in.
It could either be that, or that they wanted to make like the magic wand style selection tool, but either it's still in development, or they realized that functionality is going to take a while. Meanwhile, this functionality can come sooner and help people out with a lot of other stuff. Because I think that's why a lot of the things are delayed, why they still haven't given us a cylinder, is probably because they're determining, well, do we want to try to make other tools better? Are we going to do a curved tool? How are we going to do the cylinders? Are we going to just do a flat disc? Or are we going to do like a however many by 2, however many by 3, by 6, by 12 as you scale
Change
it up?
the selection tool from square to circle and make a cylinder selection tool kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's so many considerations with it, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's one of those shapes that's completely different than everything else. Cubes, it's real easy to just stack them if you need a rectangular prism, but a cylinder, it's hard to say really what's the ideal width and size for using it as a tool. Do you want it as a flat disc, or do you want it as a tall column? So there's so many considerations. And then the other thing on top of that is that they might still be waiting to continue improving some of their own tools and some of their own smoothing systems, so that way it's
Yeah,
easier for anybody to make the stuff without just nasty artifacting. So you can just take the sphere, cut out the center, paste another couple copies of it on top of itself, grab out the middle one, and it's going to be picture perfect as wherever you need it.
true. One big thing, like my perfect world vision of what I would love, is the ability. You know how you can place objects right now, but add that with the new the editing tool that you can paste with it. Give me the terminology here to work with.
The tweak mode?
Tweak mode. You take tweak mode, okay, but you don't actually have a voxel selection in the world, and you take an object like a cylinder. All of a sudden, you let us change the perimeters of that. So you let us shrink the cylinder, grow it, extend it this way. It's not a voxel yet, so you can do that. It's just basically a selection tool where we're kind of making a shape, polygonal style, and then paste it as that voxel. Then we can template that, and I'd like to see that for a variety of shapes. Maybe with the line tool where I can actually extend out the lines for the roof instead of copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Let me put my tweak mode right there and extend it out for the length of my roof.
Yeah.
And that's what polygonal games give you, is that ability, like Second Life and things like that, to really take your object and move it. Problem is voxels can't really do that. So a tweak mode version of where you can kind of have editing of your voxel selection, that would be my perfect world right there. I think that would be amazing for the game. And hopefully they can work on it. I don't know. What do you think, Reese? You have a development background. Do you think that would be feasible?
It's once again, I just don't know where all of the limitations are with all of their current tools and stuff right now, because voxel technology itself is still an emerging technology, and a lot of what's going on with Voxel Farm and Landmark, it's like two companies working together to try to make this super awesome system, but there's only so much resources that's able to be committed to it. I'm sure those sorts of features they'll be able to have where you can do. I actually made me think of like an Excel spreadsheet sort of thing, where you have the one cell and you just drag it down and it fills all the cells below. So the same sort of thing where you have it, and then like a extrude fill or something, you drag it in the direction and it does something like that. So that's definitely, it seems like it would be possible.
Yeah, it's like the technology that they're using is there. It would kind of be replicated for this tool. It's just, it would be done automatically, like in the program, instead of us having to physically place all the items, right?
It could just be an interface thing. It could be that they have all the systems and they just need a UI designer who can actually physically implement it. That could be the other limitation on it.
Yeah, it took them a long time to hire that UI designer. They finally got him hired, didn't they?
I think so.
The secondary one for Landmark, and then they're looking for a new one for EQ Next, I think, or something like that. Who knows? It's a lot of work to work on UI, though. Also, one of the facets that people don't really think takes so long to get right, but especially if you study user interfacing and things like that, and actually flow and design, it can be really complicated to make a good UI. It's one of the things that can kill an MMO too. Age of Conan.
Yep.
That killed me. Age of Conan, it was like, what is this? Why am I looking on this side of the screen and this side of the screen, and I can't move anything? I'm done.
You want to go see bad UI? Go look up like the original EverQuest UI.
I could only stand it for a few hours before I can just quit entirely.
Your game window is like seriously like maybe like a 6x6 square in the middle. And all you had was
it was
block.
really like a mud back then.
Yeah, it really was.
A visual backdrop. It's all chat here, and then you're right, that little small window.
It's a little 6x6 game window. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine playing with that again.
Oh my god, especially like trying to dig in Landmark or something where the reticule of your actual like pickaxe is as big as that square.
Okay,
like,
what that makes me think of is like a tank simulator or something. It's like one of those super realistic ones where you have all the different control panels and everything, but it's all being displayed at once. So your actual viewport out of it is just this tiny little thing in the middle, and you have to know, where all the actual switches and all the pedals and everything are to actually drive it like a real tank. So that's kind of what I felt like with it. Is just
freaking out.
These
But
are all the switches and panels and everything you have to understand just to play this game from like, way back when,
Yeah.
that
yeah,
still has
Uh,
expansions and
we've
content
we
being made for
yeah.
it.
And we've come a long way, and plus to give us the ability to like adjust the UI and make it how we still want to.
not a
Because
ton.
I don't,
I mean, we can do a little stuff, but we can't actually program UIs yet, can we?
yeah, no, I'm talking about by
Make that-
release. At least give us the
Yeah.
ability to adjust things and add bars and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and maybe we'll even have the option to. This would be a real game changer. Actually, give us the proportions for what we would need to put things in to replace the art assets in the UI. So instead of people trying to download illegal third-party mods to Pokemon up their UI and getting their account stolen
True.
in the process, which is totally going to be a thing, having an art pack that somebody can then send to everybody, or potentially even do over Player Studio, that
I was
changes
thinking that
all the
exact thing.
corners, all the borders, all the backgrounds. If you want it to look
Yep.
like Secret of Mana or some SNES JRPG, you make that template, and then it's got all the pixely
Yeah.
goodness to it.
It'd be like a Minecraft skin.
Yeah,
I mean, you wouldn't
exactly.
affect an actual game world. You're just affecting what the users. see.
Actually,
And
I
then
actually
they
allowed
break
UI.
themselves.
That'd be cool. Allowed UI add-ons and stuff like that.
And
Well,
that's not
nothing
something
that
you can sell right now. Like for real money, add-ons are typically something that always goes for free on sites. To be able to
Yeah.
be an add-on creator and actually sell it through Player Studio,
That's giant.
it's huge. Yeah.
Smedley. Hey, Smedley.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
Oh man, we're thinking
Listen.
for you right now.
All right. We see that zombie game you're working on, but hold up a second.
Yeah,
Let's,
we have somebody bigger. Okay.
we got some money making ideas for you.
Yeah, zombie game's looking pretty cool. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm actually going to be probably starting up a new show tomorrow, Dead Feature Rant,
Oh really?
for H1Z1. I don't have any guests scheduled, and I think I'm just going to do 1 hour this first time just to see how it goes. And if it goes all right, then I'll probably take on guests and continue on with future episodes. If not, we'll see.
I heard Tanlin actually has a couple corpses in his backyard. We could dig them up, reanimate them, get them right on there. Be the perfect deadheads for your show.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Gotta. You know who can
Skeletons out
reanimate?
of the closet.
You know who
and
can
out of the
reanimate the
backyard.
dead? Oprah. She can apparently make anything happen.
I believe in Oprah's power. The almighty Oprah is powerful.
Oprah's a necromancer, and you get a soul, and you get a soul, and you get a soul.
Yeah, actually, no.
Fantastic.
I was kind of ripping off a Robot Chicken sketch there, where once again, Oprah does actually raise the dead, so people can have some quality time with their past loved ones.
Look under your chair.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. Okay, so
That is
I think that's every. Oh no, there was some other stuff. Membership with benefits. Okay, so the membership system is it's still being pushed back. They're still continuing to get the system in, but they're finalizing the details. Seems like it's going to be pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, it got pushed back SOE wide too.
Yeah.
So they're still working on that. As Smedley posted, it's the biggest change to their infrastructure they've made since they've made infrastructure. I mean, it's a huge change to their monetization and how everything works. And, honestly, Landmark's just not far along enough to see what member benefits will be. We don't have currency. We don't know how that's going to work in the game.
Harvesting bonus and
crafting's
discovery
not all the way
bonus.
Yeah, but crafting's not all the way in. We don't know how harvesting's going to change.
Okay, I can
They'll
tell
give
you
us
all
all-
three of those. Harvesting bonus, you get larger quantity per harvest. Discovery
Yeah.
bonus, so you'll get the rarer stuff more frequently. And a crafting quality bonus, so you'll get slightly better
Possibly.
thresholds, like the crafting bracelet that we have right now.
And they said that would not be implemented in the game, but they also said I think it was object based in the way it wouldn't be implemented in the game. So it could be a member benefit,
Yeah.
which stacks with your Master Crafter bracelet. Because right now, if you didn't buy the pack, I guess you won't be able to in the near future until they forget and implement it anyways, because it's SOE. Until you'll have to just use that Master Crafter. So that would be an option for people who didn't buy the pack to get a similar bonus. And I mean, that's what they have in Planet Side 2, a similar model. You get better resources, things like that. And I think that would work because on top of that, you're getting that 500 SC a month. You're getting discounts in all the stores, and that's across all SOE games.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
it's
could
worth
see
it.
them doing the PlanetSide 2 style where you have to do at least 6 months before you'll have access to all of the top tier
Yeah.
bonuses, just to try to get that initial 6 month sale and then keep people going on a monthly after that.
Hmm.
So they'll definitely, they'll have to have those features, but since it's for every game, it's not just for the one game. There's one thing about it that still bugs me so much, and I just want to punch every single person in the face that was naysaying it. Was the idea that instead of getting 500 station cash that goes in your wallet, you
Oh,
would
the free
get
item.
every single game you would get like 1,000 station
I
cash
know.
value
That was
item.
so much bigger.
That's so huge.
Now
Why
you're paying
people turn it
500 for
down?
one game
Like
across your
they're
portfolio.
math good people, math
I
good
know.
learn.
I don't know what they were thinking. I think they were worried a little bit about progression in PlanetSide 2, getting all the guns right away. But I mean, it doesn't really make a difference if you have all the guns. Like, yeah, if you have Hellfire missiles on your Mosquito, you're gonna be able to do a little more damage to tanks or something like that. But you can still get shot down just as easy. Um, you're right, but it was the PlanetSide 2 community that kind of squashed that.
Oh, all the mounts we
Yeah.
could have bought. All the mounts.
Yeah, seriously.
All the
Like
things.
that
And
would have been
I want
so
mounts
much better.
in Landmark.
The mounts and landmark with the heroic stuff, they're not going to be crappy mounts. They're going to be pretty awesome. I really expect we're going to have tigers and stuff that are going to be leaping around and just ripping things to pieces if you actually get in combat. That's the sort of stuff.
They should just build that in.
Or,
if you're on a tiger, it should be able to do combat. Like,
Or
don't even add that.
gorillas.
A lot of games like Dragon's Prophet, they added it later. Mounts, let them fight day one. Day one out of box. I want to be able to get on my little Skyrim nightmare horse and I want it to attack things, Yeah.
Like give me a gorilla with like two giant spiky gloves and then like a big old saddle on the back that can use
that'd
range
be so
weapons from
cool.
the back, just climbing around everywhere, punching through walls and stuff. Because that's going to be the other thing is mounts that can actually destroy the world to get through. Like tree, no problem. I've got a rhino. I've got a magical super rhino, and it's just like it stampedes through things.
Like Donkey Kong Country, just ramming through barrels and stuff.
Exactly. Those are the kind of maps that I want to be seeing. Like really awesome stuff like that. Just things that it's just satisfying to be using them. It's like I could be moving around on my own, but this one is so awesome. I'm just gonna ride.
Here's one cause I've been watching a lot of Archage stuff, and one thing with their mounts that I like is that you raise it from a small thing, like you raise it from a baby, and you get emotionally invested in your mount because it could die, like it could take damage and die. So yeah, you get emotionally invested in your creatures.
I would love that next.
Yeah, that would be like you'd have to actually raise your mount up, and like I was like, oh hey, that was like and people were like emotionally they get emotionally invested in their mounts. So I was like, I could see that, like your mount's not just like a form of travel now; it's actually something you have to care about, and like if it goes into battle with you, then you smarten up.
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah,
Archage is huge, and John Smedley said EQ Next would be the biggest sandbox ever created. I'm telling they're going to need to up their developmental time because the time it's taken them to get features into Landmark.
And
they're going to have so many features to like even compare to Archage.
Yeah, Archage they need to really pay attention. They really need to pay attention to that. Because Archage has a lot of things, like there's like you have to collect lumber and compress the wood, and you have to grow like cotton to get bundles of fabric, and like it takes a lot. You have to go out and build your dock. Like it takes time to do things, but you can do whatever you want. You can go on ship battles and do that and upgrade your boat until you have like a massive ship, and do that with your guild. You can have like a gigantic guild ship and like with cannons and stuff, and go out and have pirate fights out in the middle of the water, and they're doing some cool, like that game has got some deep cool things going on, and it's kind of no joke. So it's something to really look at. It's something to really look at. It's
a lot of features to implement. So many little different features. But you're right. I mean, if SOE is going to be really that big sandbox. It needs to have these kind of things. What are you laughing about?
Tanlin in chat says I'll be able to start that over 40 guild by the time EverQuest Next
Oh
launches.
my
Yeah.
They said next year, didn't they? They said I imagine same time frame as Landmark. So January we have alpha start, very limited kind of game. The only thing is that Georgeson was talking about at PAX East. I want to get you guys' opinion on this. He was talking about the way that they can modularly build MMOs now, and it's something that they're experimenting with. So bringing people with alpha, very limited, and build it up and build the features instead of 4 years developing a game and then release it. You know, being able to develop while getting money incoming for that game and keeping it fun. Personally, I could see that working for Landmark. But at the same time, I've seen where it sort of has fallen to the side in Landmark, where people, like me, are like, oh, well, I don't really want to play it right now. Am I questioning my purchase because of it? Because it's not a full game that I really want. But EQ Next is a whole different monster because it's strongly narrative driven. So if you're worried about adding features that kind of mess up the narrative or it's not strong enough to begin with, I mean, what is there to do? It's not like you can just go out and build. Landmark is okay because you can express yourself and build, kind of like a Paint Shop Pro, just keep painting. But EQ Next can't do that. So I think they're going to have to address it a little differently here if they want it to succeed. I don't know.
At first, they have to have their whole game in place. Like we of course we can alpha test like the game itself to make sure that's working and like rallying calls are working and the AI is working correctly in that game. That's stuff we'd want to test first. After that, though, that modular part of it would probably be like instead of
additional things, right?
Yeah, like if they don't want to do if they want to get away from doing expansion packs, they do like these modular packs instead and do and enter content that way. Now the question is, at that point, how do you like with EQ1 and EQ2, they still sell expansion packs. Now the game is free to play, and then when the new expansion comes out, that previous expansion becomes free.
I can answer that. They are done with expansions from what we've heard right now. So like PlanetSide 2 just keeps adding content, and like Landmark just keeps adding content, EQ Next will just keep adding content.
Yeah, adding content. So.
As far as we know so far. Now that might change in the future, but it's supposed to be just new rallying calls coming out all the time, new content being added on a regular basis, and their main monetization is through the store, through selling items, through buying, aesthetics or boosts or mounts. Yeah. That's their main monetization, it seems.
Yeah, which works, because there was just a study that was done for mobile gaming that even if 0.5% of the market for a game just buys in the shop, that's 0.5% buys in the shop. That's where the money comes from, and even that supports that game enough. So even if
always spend more than they would with a subscription. Every single game, when you buy it, you're typically spending more than you would with a subscription.
Yeah,
really into the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's super gougey games out there, like Nexon has a lot of games that are pay to win. You can be spending $60 just on 2 weapons. That's it. That isn't the fancy characters, the fancy armor. That's just 2 weapons that somebody can potentially buy even better versions of if they're willing to throw down $100 and maybe even another $100 to make sure it stays permanent in their inventory. And that's the sort of thing, like they've got these levels that show you how much you've spent, and it's like your rank. They've got some servers and features that you have to have spent a certain amount of money on their games to get into. And apparently some features where, like, if you've spent, like, $10,000 on the game or something, you've got the platinum rank, and I think it has some extra features or something to it. And it's like, wow, if somebody's actually got that, I hope they're getting sponsored, because otherwise,
I know, right?
My goodness, like,
well, another example,
they have paid and they have won.
World of Tanks, before they went completely esports and kind of readjusted their model, used to sell what they called gold rounds. And this is like the epitome of pay to win. And this is when they were still doing tournaments. I don't know if they kind of just didn't allow them or if everyone had to buy them. But these were actually rounds that you put into your tank that would tick down. So you're not just buying it once, you're buying it constantly. I want 500 rounds. Wow. Well, let me put in the $15. Now those shots do more damage to any other tank. Now I can win. And if that's not pay to win, I don't know what else is.
They were also
Um,
selling the main battle tank for $100 at some
see,
point. So
yeah, see, there
like,
you go.
that's fucked.
It is. I was even
That's
at
so much
Scrolls
money.
Online selling their pack with the race that can only be had on that pack because they had racial benefits. And those racial benefits couldn't be gotten any other way. So that's almost, it's not really pay to win, but it kind of is because there's no other way to get that item and it does affect gameplay. If it affects gameplay and there's no other way to get it in game but buying it, it kind of becomes pay to win. Maybe it's not an outright advantage, but it's borderline. But SOE seems to be at the forefront of this kind of revolution when it comes to MMOs. They've really taken the League of Legends model, and it can improve a lot. But Player Studio's doing really well, and we're seeing a lot of different kind of customizable features. I'd love it to get to where Dota 2 is, where you can change even like the gauntlets on a character. Just everything can be changed, and I think we'll see that soon. H1Z1's supposed to be doing a lot of different things with customization, so I'm happy to be an SOE fan. I'm very proud of their products at this point.
I am too, and I came from Blizzard, so and I'm a big former Blizzard fanboy, and I still play Blizzard games since Same, but I think that what they're doing are very 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 smart, and I like the way that how they test like under the cover test their products and services. They're like, well, let's test the voxels and we'll create landmark and we need to test the AI. But I guarantee like H1Z1 was like an in-house kind of like game they were pumping out. Like or like we could do DayZ, but look what we're playing in the house. And they're like, I get we can make money off this and pumped out. Pumped out DayZ, and it was just their H1. They pumped out, or like, oh, look at this
So they saw the
H1Z1.
market.
Oh yeah,
you have Rust and all these things coming out, but both of those have stagnant development. Daisy Standalone has kind of died, and it was taking so many roles that the players weren't wanting. Smedley apparently has loved zombies for a while, and they already had PlanetSide, they already had infrastructure. Like Daisy's not a hard game to make. Like
no,
the hardest
not.
part's probably like the body simulation and
it's
AI.
not.
But they already have that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. He had talked about, or there's some talk about, like, this being the game that Star Wars Galaxies fans could finally come home. And there's a few ways where I can see that. Some of the sandboxiness and build your civilization in the wild and, defend it sort of thing. Beyond that, no. Beyond that, just no. It in no way is Star Wars Galaxies.
It's the crafting system and the ability to make villages eventually. I created this fortress and we're farming and we're collecting raindrops and that's giving us water to drink and keeping our bodies healthy because that's all in there. We have fire to keep us warm at night. That's where the SWG is going to come in. I need these like 500 different materials, and to get those materials I have to not really grind a bunch of the same thing, but I have to take a battery, which I find I have to take apart the battery to get the liquid out of it to read. I don't know. That's the SWG part.
And you just MacGyvered H1Z1. You're just like, I take the
take the battery acid out, and then
take the battery out.
And then the mess that the zombies leave behind are going to be for our chemical reaction to create our generator. Yeah.
Yeah, Zube said, H1Z1 could be Star Wars Galaxy set. I agree with them. I think really where it's going to shine is the shops and the setting up the small shanty towns.
Well, there's also one major thing that H1Z1 has that only applied to a small segment of Star Wars Galaxies players. Permadeath. Permadeath. Now, Jedis could permadie, but at the same time, they were super badass and they're supposed to be able to defend themselves. This game is completely different, and it's actually one of the major things I'm going to kind of rant about tomorrow is we start with James Bond MacGyver. You can pilot everything, you can build everything, you can use every tool, all of that stuff proficiently, and you're a physical specimen on top of that. So, that really takes a lot of the survivoriness out of it for me. And it really takes away the need for community if everybody can do everything.
Makes it a quick gank fest, doesn't it? And that's one thing I'm worried about.
If I'm a tank pilot, I'm like, a lot of my experience has gone into that. Yeah, I can probably shoot a rifle. Yeah, I can probably repair some other things. But in terms of like my character's general life experience and, other ancillary things, I might not be able to cook, I might not have sanitation techniques, might not know first aid, I might not be that good at math or maybe I'm really good at math, but my ability, like literacy, is like questionable or something. Whatever it is,
They
because
that kind of independent
this,
or the dependability. You're right.
yeah. So this is 15 years after the zombie apocalypse, and people lived before that point. This isn't a bunch of 15-year-olds running around, or this isn't a bunch of people that just randomly materialized out of nowhere. Their lives that they had that they lived up to that point. So that's what I feel like should be the real factor in what the character can do, not necessarily stat attributes, but what they're proficient in and if they can do something proficiently. So it would be like every year that the character has been alive, that would basically represent a different or a different kind of point that can be spent on a different part of the character's background, or otherwise that can be done as like a question system. But anyway, that's getting off on a completely different tangent there. So we were talking about Star Wars Galaxies, H1Z1, talking about SOE games. Was there? Oh, there was one other thing, and I know Star Wars Galaxies was really good about this. That we want to see more of in Landmark is dancing. We don't even have a front slash dance. We have front slash tribal dance, and it's not very tribal.
It's really cool in the fact that it kind of it uses heroic movement in a way. It's heroic dancing. You move and your character twirls instead, and it kind of takes the environment around it and creates something new. Now it's still very limited because we only have that one dance, but you could imagine like the dancing all being connected. You type /dance, and all of a sudden it's like a hotkey mini game. You move this way and you press E, and it becomes the tribal dance. And you move this way and press like 1, and it becomes something else. And then you can kind of mesh this all together and have your little dance routine.
I don't know. If you have not seen me stream, and did you see what I streamed and danced?
No.
Oh, I put up what is it? Jump on it. The Tonto jump on it. I did a whole dance. Yeah, imagine that. I did a whole thing.
That's awesome. That is awesome. No, I mean it is cool. It is really cool, but I'd like more options. I also like the skipping. The skipping is awesome because when you /walk, you're actually skipping then, and you see that with drunk. If you use that, that's hilarious. You're standing there, your character just kind of wobbles back and forth a little bit, But when you start walking, then he's really like, ugh. Oh,
my favorite is doing /happy with dance or /angry with dance because the upper body doesn't move at all. They're just.
I'm ready for SOE mode for those things. /happy just doesn't cut it. I want to be able to smile and see my character smile, and that's something we haven't heard about. I mean, SOE mode technically was working in EQ2. All they had to do is kind of rig it up to the character models. Why haven't we seen it yet?
It's a later feature.
Or is it just because they're not prioritizing it?
It's going to be a later feature. They probably have a lot more work they want to do in the actual character model design and stuff.
That's
and get
possible.
all the faces and the hairs and everything. And
well, I mean, we need sliders for sure.
Yeah.
If we don't have sliders, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're not going to have fat tunes, and people are going to be upset.
And the weird thing is, I think that Landmark will be used more for like the machinima than I think EQ and will.
Absolutely.
Just because you can create
like builds, you can create your environment. You're a set designer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're pretty much a set designer, and then you can create the world around you.
And not many games allow that.
Landmark is going to allow you to build freely. EverQuest Next, it is a privilege to be able to build, and you are going to have to defend that shit. So it's a completely different. Landmark is the place for machinima. Even if it's EverQuest Next related, there will probably be features where you'll either be able to use builds that other people have made and help use that for the scenery, or maybe even be able to get in contact with people at SOE, have them export a part of EverQuest Next into a special section of Landmark that you're using specifically for your show.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. No, I mean, I like that aquarium. You all of a sudden you could be like Sean Connery down there. Or you could do a Jaws movie. Like, there's so many movies that use an aquarium as a set, and all of a sudden you can recreate that. Or maybe I want to be in a space and I call up Cold Night, and I'm like, Cold Night, let me use your set real quick and let me film this. I mean, there's so much you can do, and that's fantastic about it.
Yeah.
Especially with the animation quality, because you get SOE mode in there. It's actually working. You get a lot more emotes. Those are really high quality animations. What we're seeing so far in the game. That's still early,
which is good. Which is really
It is good.
So
Yeah, animation is everything because it gives weight to everything.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna revamp their SOE mode. I think that's what they're gonna do. Is that way you have more points? Because the more points you have, the better control you have on your
Yeah.
face. So, just saying, because I've used it just for fun.
It's
Just for
bad
fun.
too. It's bad.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be
it's
honest.
bad. Yeah,
it's
it's
terrible. Cool idea doesn't really.
cool idea. I gotta give SOE credit. They do a lot of cool ideas and they implement a lot of cool. They innovate. They really do.
Innovate.
They do innovate because they do things that I like. I think people don't see or notice that go under the radar a lot with their games. Like they're like, oh, like or like in comparison, like
you too, like
Dungeon Creator. Yeah,
I mean,
Dungeon
it didn't
Creator.
become what they wanted it to, but you can still create your own dungeon. And
Dungeon,
run it.
yep, and run it, yeah. And one of the first games that let you do that. Then like look, then other games that came out and decided to roll with it and
Yeah, it launched with housing. 2004, it launched with its housing system about being able to place
Sure
items,
did.
upgrade housing, and it was awesome. It's still awesome today, the stuff you can do in it, and it has no kind of voxel creation or anything like that. But that was one thing that they really wanted to push the envelope with, and I think they did an amazing job. SOE has, you're right, they don't get the credit, and I think it's partly because they innovate so much that they never can put the quality into it. Blizzard does the opposite. They stick with what they know and they do it really well. So it's super polished, it's super presentable, and it's easy to sell. SOE, it's typically buggy, it just doesn't play right. But at the same time, it's an amazing feature that you want to do well. And they're trying to change that.
Yeah, they are, and I gotta give them credit for that. Like Legends of Norrath, I play that. That game is like difficult to learn, but it's a fun game. Like it's got great concepts for a card game. Like there's a questing system. You can battle the guy across from you, do damage that way, to get points. You can do the questing system, get points that way. I was like, that to me is very, very cool. And I was like, why is this not and plus they give you free bonus like the booster packs. Like I think you get like 1 or 2 a month or something like that. Like you go in and check, and then you still get like loot cards. Like I ended up getting a couple loot cards.
In-game loot.
Yeah, I have a
in-game stuff's awesome.
I got a transmog bow for my guy, and it's like this purple bow that it like burns like purple flames and stuff. It's so cool looking. So cool looking.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Oh, Dave Georgeson, I don't know if you saw it, he put on Twitter, forgot to tell you, and that's how he typed it, we're extending Upkeep prepay to 8 days. Yay!
Totally awesome.
So it's 1 extra day?
No, it's 5 right now.
Oh, it's only 5
3
right
extra
now?
days. Yeah, it's only 5.
That's nice. And that's just until they get a real system in place. So thank God that's not the real system that they're wanting to go with. Thank God. Yeah. Because I lost my claim. I mean, I was just so busy. I mean, those 5 days went by like that. I just didn't get to log in, and I lost it. And it was all terraforming too. So my my little save doesn't count. Like I don't care if you template it, I can't do anything with it.
Yeah, especially if you build based on the land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
Then you're kind of out. You're kind of out at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool things in the update, cool things in the cast tonight. Some interesting talk amongst the developers tonight.
Yeah, especially because Terry was out getting married, so we got different cast than usual, which is congrats to Terry. Very very much anticipated his wedding here because it's been talked about a whole lot for a little while. Not nearly as much fanfare as T-Ray getting married. It's like, yep, gonna put a ring on her tomorrow. Gonna go to the courthouse and make it official. Love T-Ray.
He's one interesting fella.
That guy is so awesome.
Cool. He's super cool. You're right. Yeah. I don't know about too much else though. So we talked about combat. We talked about water. We ranted about things we like, what we don't like.
Oh, I can give you the rundown. I mean, we talked about the Tech Forge, the upgrade system, Crafting 2.0, new template interface, gallery versus private. We didn't really talk about that, but that was, the idea that if you take off all of your tags, you go back to a private state and you're off the gallery.
Which is good because not everyone wants to be up there.
Yeah. We talked about lore. We talked about the mail system, the lack of coins, props in the world, the idea of selling UI art, um, the kind of bowl-shaped water placement and the implications of that, which isn't coming this week, by the way. Don't be confused just
No.
because they showed it
Yeah.
off. The fact that there's not really going to be much water interaction initially. It'll just be kind of there as a volume, and then eventually we'll be able to do stuff with it later. Material-specific painting, the update for the blueprint, which will be coming hopefully not Saturday right before midnight, but
Into the
Dave can
week.
Dave has as long as he needs. Um, I already talked about that. Dancing, membership, and that's about it. So
I'd
yeah,
say that's a lot.
yeah,
Honestly.
we talked about a hell of a lot because it's
Wow.
oh yeah, the PR.
Oh yeah, RedTube.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that. So
It started off
anybody,
as a joke, but they kept bringing it up.
yeah, anybody who missed it, Omid was trying to get his phone going because the laptop died, and there were some jokes being made about the thing that was open on the phone being RedTube, which is a pornographic website. Not really the sort of thing that SOE would probably deem appropriate for their streams. And I'm sure their PR person is going to have a word with him. You see, now that's the thing, is I don't know if it's going to be the PR person or if it's going to be his boss in the brand management division,
Well, yeah,
because
that's the most interesting thing is he's a brand manager and he's talking this way.
yeah,
He's the most interesting
He-
gamer or
yeah.
whatever he brands himself
I mean,
as now.
It's just
he's a
I
brand
can't
manager.
imagine
Man,
his boss chewing him out because she's such a nice person.
true.
But like the idea that like she's gonna sit him down and it's like, what this is about. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
like
look,
giving
man,
him the hot
dang.
bright light on him and all of that business. He's gonna get something for this. This is. I'm sure they're maybe they'll have to have his camera on like a 3-second delay with a sensor button so that anything he says, Dexella can just.
Come on, what do you
I'm
think?
sure Dexter would have loved that.
Means making my type of jokes. He can't make my type of jokes. He's working.
Yeah, he should be making those kinds of jokes. At least 2-3 scotches into his own personal stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, that was interesting. Really, really interesting. And then that Dave was the one who initially said it. Omid went with it, and then Dave brought it back up again. And I'm like, okay, well, Dave's not the PR guy. He's not the marketing guy. He wouldn't really think like that. He's just having fun. But why is Omid going with it? Like, why are they actually talking about a porn site on their stream?
You're right. You're right. They both did
game?
talk about it. No, they're both
My-
gonna get a talking to. Don't
My-
worry.
My favorite was kids don't go to that site.
And
Yeah.
especially if you tell someone on the internet not to do something, you know what
Yeah.
they're going to do immediately after.
'Cause,
Imagine
Yeah.
how many parents.
when
fucking
Free
child.
Realms went down, it wasn't because Smedley finally convinced his daughter that Landmark was a fun game to play. So like, she totally wasn't watching that episode.
Oh
I'm
dear.
still, I mean,
Oh.
there's got to be a lot of 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds that are watching this. And while they're probably looking at this stuff anyways, it's not something that you say on a game that's supposed to be rated for everyone. Like, yeah, it's not in the game, but everyone who is interested in the game is going to be watching your show. Unless you're going to, like, make it a mature channel, which you're not going to be. It's risky. I mean, we don't want to, like... We're not reprimanding them. It's their choice.
It's
But
just,
at the
it's
same
funny.
time-
No, we don't need to do the reprimanding. That will happen internally at their office.
Listen, I'm just
Yeah.
saying RedTube doesn't need the free advertising.
No.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. I think
No, that's
Like, get some money for that.
yeah, but I mean, it
Production.
like I can say like I love Nutella and I'm not gonna get sent a can of Nutella. So
I wish if every time I mentioned something on the internet, I got free something of that. Like,
that was the Stephen Colbert approach.
yeah, the Stephen. I'm like just gonna try. I'll try it next time on Evercast. I'll be like, I love Nutella. Nutella, please send me Nutella. And see if I get like a whole case of Nutella.
Nice.
Oh,
Sorry.
Did you just pay us for that right there?
either they pay us or they're gonna sue us. It's definitely one or the other.
When we get our check, Legendary, you promised something. For the
You already
100,000
have lunar
pesos,
anklets.
Or I don't
For
have
all-
lunar anklet.
Actually, you
I
don't?
do not. Nope.
I don't either.
What?
I would take a payment of a lunar
Yeah.
anklet. Sure.
That's a surprise.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't listen. No, I know Meat's not here, but we're gonna have to like go whisper in people's ears and be like, hey, listen, what are we? We've we're from
We are
Evercast.
giants.
Do you know who we are? We've been doing this. We were like the longest running that podcast. What's going on?
What is going on? What is going on?
Yes, Tanlin endorses it too. So apparently the next episode of Evercast is... Okay, now here's what I'm going to put out there. If you get pork rinds and you put Nutella on those, then they become crunchy, delicious, awesome things that are totally cool.
I'm sure
I
would go
made
with
it.
diet, definitely.
It's sad, but now I have to go try that.
Yeah, and the barbecue where my brother works, someone made some of those and they were awesome.
I can see that because pork rinds are like mildly salty, like they're crunchy. They don't really have much of a flavor, and they're just that light salt to them. So
Mhm.
like Nutella
And
on
salt
that
and salt
chocolate.
goes hand in hand.
Oh,
It
just
does.
thinking all
It does
and,
so
and
good.
oh, that's like it's like bacon and chocolate. Like it's so wrong, but it's so right at the same
It's like, think of it as like a soft pretzel that's a little crunchier. Well, not.
It's
Well,
not
Nutella-
soft though. It's
Hard to
crunchy.
describe.
The whole thing. It's crunchy the whole way through with the Nutella on the outside. It's so awesome and the flavor and everything. It just goes so well. Yeah, definitely. If you're gonna
It
if you're
sounds
gonna
like a
have
college store.
a Nutella themed episode next time,
Evercast.
gotta get some of those going.
One day, and I had popcorn and I had peanut butter. Well, I had nothing else, so what happened? I dipped the popcorn in the peanut butter and had peanut butter popcorn.
I would. And it,
And that's how I gained my freshman, 35.
Talon said Evercast brought to you by Nutella and Diet Pepsi. If we had Diet Pepsi, if we had Pepsi money coming at us,
Oh my god, are you kidding me? That's a lot of money right there.
we would be. Listen, we would be here every week for you guys.
It would be a daily broadcast. Are you kidding me? We'd find stuff to do.
We'd find everything to talk about. Every time you see me, I'm like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I did this on my claim. Oh, I love Diet Pepsi.
It's like American Idol, X Factor. They all have their drinks of choice, and they're always drinking it with their cups.
Yeah, it's like, guys, we got water finally. Water and Pepsi.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, now there's waters in the game. Where's my goddamn Pepsi boxes?
Where's my Pepsi boxes?
Now, in-game ads, that's something that's actually been talked about. We can run a few minutes
it's,
over here because
It's not a lot of income. Smedley actually said with H1Z1, and just because I'm kind of going into advertising a little bit, you can't kind of say where your demographics are coming from. You could say like, oh yeah, all these players on the server, but you also don't have ways for you to tell. I guess you could program it in there, but they really don't, saying like which person walked by it when. So a big thing about advertisements is saying, hey, we got you this amount of viewers. Now TV, they do that, through ratings. Google, they do it from actual views to the page. In-game ads, you can't really do that. So it's really discretionary, how many people are playing that game, how's it going to be seen, if it can actually be metered.
Yeah.
I could see it maybe on a Dota 2 match or something like that. Like in the client, it pops up an advertisement or something like that. That could be big money because you're looking at huge viewership that you can actually look at. But in-game advertising, it sounds cool. There's no money there. It's too risky.
When PlanetSide 2 was free to play, they kept showing on a loop these really horrible ads, like the worst ads you could possibly find. Things that make you just want to quit the game and uninstall. They were terrible. They were really, and I don't know if it was because those were at the highest price point because no one else wanted to show them or how that worked. But
Yeah.
that's the sort of thing I really hope they avoid. Oh, it finally thawed. Fantastic. Oh, I can still see it's frozen in there. All right, I'm gonna embarrass you now, everyone. Before the show, he kept sticking his finger in there and scooping some of it. He made some frozen drink yesterday, some frozen fruit beverage.
It's a fruit smoothie. Got some kiwi. I got
Was it apples? You said
kiwi, apple, and melon for the majority of it. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds good, but it's just funny that you've
Yeah,
He-
I thought it was completely unfrozen, and then the kind of ice block just like smashed into my face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were
that's hilarious.
My favorite part was like right before we were doing the camera test. He was like jamming his thumb in there, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, he's like, I got this smoothie and I'm trying to melt it." I'm like, by jamming your thumb into it?"
I was scraping the ice. Okay, I learned it landmark. I gotta use my like pick to scrape it a little bit out.
You're
Whatever.
for thumbing that thing.
Interesting things you didn't know about Chuina, right there.
Thumb smoothies.
Jesus.
Just hilarious. All right. So we've derailed like the past 10, 15 minutes here, plus or minus. So it's been pretty good. I feel like it might be about time to wrap up here. So I'm gonna give some final goodbyes here, and then we will do a raid. So I will give the raid information after we're finished wrapping up. So
What's the rate?
channel raid, where we take everyone that's in this channel and we raid somebody else. So I'll tell you who that's going to be here in just a moment. So before that, gonna go through the who everybody is. I'm Legendary Neurotoxin. I host this show every week. Next tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a new show, Dead Feature Rant, H1Z1 related. That one's going to be starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Then on Fridays, I'm on Into the Portal at 5 p.m. Pacific time over on Geek Domo's channel. Over on Saturdays, you can see me here 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific for procedural powerhouses. And this week is a very special one because I've got one of the developers for Edge of Space is going to join me for the show. Going to do some in-game playthrough with them. Hopefully we'll see if we can get a bit further down, because I've already made some decent progress. It's such a fun game, but there's so many more features that it's got going for it that 3-6 months down the road is going to be way more awesome. And then of course Sundays I have Castles and Crap Shacks, which a lot
You're
of
one
people
of the hardest working landmark streamers for sure. You have so many different shows going on. No one else touches it. I am 100% honest there.
I have
You're
shows.
always starting something new. I'm like, oh my god.
I have shows, but I don't have the raw broadcasting like Ara, for example. She's just a beast. She just stream for
true.
like
All
hours
day,
upon
every day.
and she's doing really meaningful building and stuff all the time.
That's true.
Or doing tours and stuff. So we've got a lot of really awesome people.
Definitely a huge active community. At least when it comes to streamers and YouTube video makers, great products being made every day by everyone, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you guys, Chuina, why don't you say all that you're up to these days?
So basically, right now I am solely Evercast. I have a little blog on the side that I don't write about much at all. But when I do, I update it on my Twitter. The easiest way to follow me or the things I'm doing with Evercast or anything like that is my Twitter, which is below me. Also, you can follow us on the Evercast Show Twitter. Real quick, little plug-in for Evercast. We go live every other Sunday. It might change. It might not. We'll keep you updated. We always try and pick a specific topic and stick with it, and we try to focus on connecting the community as much as possible. So bringing on guests, bringing on experts, and just really trying to focus in on what makes the games good and what they could do better. It's always a lot of fun. We get into a lot of really good discussion, and it's great to have the chat there along with us because you guys get to add right to it. And we have something in the works soon that might work out, and if it does, you'll be seeing a lot more of Evercast. So that's all I'm going to say about me, and we will turn it over to Flattus.
Hi. I'm
Who will
Flattus.
double plug Evercast.
I will. I also am on Evercast. Shockingly, I've not been kicked off for speaking my mind and going crazy on that show. I do Evercast along with Chewy, and we do that every other Sunday. Like he said, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel again, but I am on Evercast, and I do love that show, and I think we do a great job, and I think we try to get our hands deep into the EverQuest community as much as we are, and we're all very much MMO gamers. But I also I stream. I also have my own Twitch channel that's been scrolling across the bottom here, at twitch.tv/Flattus, and there I stream. I'm not a big Landmark streamer. I not. It's unfortunate. I'm not really good with the tools, so I'm really good with digging. So if you want to watch a lot of digging, I will stream Landmark for you, and make jokes, which I'm really good at. But I have been streaming. Let's see. If I can remember the name of it. BioShock. There we go.
Oh, okay.
I've been streaming BioShock, and then I will be finishing that hopefully this weekend because I have time now. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish BioShock, and then I will move on to BioShock Infinite. And I have like some crazy amount of, I have 312 games on my Steam account. So now that I have some time while I look for a job, I am going to try to finish as many of those games as possible on my stream and kind of do what I do best, which is kind of make people feel good about watching my stuff, because I kind of that's kind of my thing. It's like I want people to feel good about like watching my show, and if I can make them laugh and have a better day, then cool. I kind of did my job. So that's how I stream. That's how I roll. So and if you go ahead. I was gonna say if you don't see me there, then I'm on EQ server Crushbone. If you want to join the Helsing Army Guild, we should be getting that. That's EQ2, by the way. We'll probably have an EQ1 to guild as well. So see how things go there. We'll have an
never seen a game until you run into Crushbone for your first time and are completely trained to zone or just wipe. You have no idea what you're getting into. It's awesome. EQ is great. But I just really wanted to say thank you, Legendary Neurotoxin, for inviting us onto the show, being so adamant about it and actually getting us on. It's been a great experience. We love doing this, and I mean, hopefully soon I'll be able to do it a lot more with you. Wednesdays is a little rough for me right now, but awesome. And we need to get you on Evercast soon.
Yeah,
obviously.
I definitely want to be on the next one for sure.
Yeah.
What's the subject for
definitely.
the next one? Did you folks decide that one yet?
We don't have anything decided, did we?
I think we decided the topic,
but we weren't sure.
We weren't sure. Yeah, like
it's work. It's in the works.
Okay.
It's in the works. Yeah, it's based on if we can get secret stuff working.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool.
We're working on something big.
Thanks.
We can get that working, then it will be that. If not, it'll be something different. We'll have a contingency plan very soon, hopefully.
Yeah, everything.
Huge thanks, Neuro. You're huge in the community. I honestly knew you just as the SOE Screamer guy at SOE Live. If you've seen any SOE Live promotional video, he's the SOE Live! And he's done it a couple years now. And I saw him last year. I was sitting in the little bar in the middle of the casino. Brass was out buying everyone drinks, and we were all having a good time. And I just saw him sitting there, and I'm like, oh my God, it's him. And I was kind of nervous at first. I'm like, do I approach him? Do I get his autograph? And I was like, will you please film a video with me? And I grabbed my camera and we did the SOE Live together. And I still haven't posted it. No, it's not posted anywhere, but I will make sure to get that out soon.
Cool.
I just have to find it somewhere.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
If Tanlin gives me permission, Friday we're testing things out and announcing. Okay, so Friday. Friday. Pay attention to the Twitters.
Okay.
Friday, and then we will announce things as we go forward from there.
Very cool.
Also, I wanted to say, if you don't see me on my channel, then you will hear me create chaos on Tobrin's channel.
Oh, yes.
That is my complete goal with Tobrin, is to create chaos and make him laugh. Sometimes I feel he just sits there and he's very quiet, and I'm like, I need to make him not quiet. So anything I can do to do that.
Cool.
And now Legendary's like, get the hell out of my screen.
Yeah, he's like, I need
this one last thing we're going to do here. I just went towards the bottom of the list, saw that Catarella's streaming. So let's go see if we can bring her up to maybe 2 or 3 on the list here with all the viewers we have, because I think we're number 2 right now. So let's move along to there. Click the link there in chat, twitch.tv/Catarella. I will join you all over there as soon as I finish wrapping up all the tech and finishing up with these 2 boneheads. I mean, these 2 awesome ghosts.
There it is. There it is. I knew he was holding it.
You were waiting for it. No.
Getting the shots in.
No. These guys are great. Definitely follow them if you haven't. Follow them, Twitch, Twitter, everywhere. They're people that you will definitely be seeing more of in the community as the game continues here. And on that note, I'm putting up the sign. Thank you for viewing. I'm going to cut audio, and that'll be it.